What is up, you beautiful, happy hustlers out there? Kerry Jack here, and I hope you are having an amazing day. I mean it, just enjoying this very moment right here and right now, baby. And in this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast, we are talking to Mr. Jayson Hunter, who is a registered dietitian and CEO and founder of JLab. He is also nationally known as a weight loss expert that has been seen on ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS as the one who bridges the gap between what science does and what the real world living does. With over 20 years of experience, he's seen about every gimmick, fad diet, and miracle pill that you can think of to lose weight. And he's here to tell us the best nutrition practices out there and how you can optimize your health by eating right, by exercising properly. And I'm really interested in this conversation with Jayson. He's a super knowledgeable guy, really nice guy that I met at a mastermind recently. And I wanted to bring him on the mic to share with you guys this knowledge. So without further ado, let's dive into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast. And real quick, guys, I just want to give a huge shout out to this episode's sponsor, which is Nootopia. Speaking of health, if you want to optimize your brain health, these are my go-to nootropics to help you make sure you are optimized in the cognitive performance game. And these bad boys really work. Let me tell you, you can go to nootopia.com/happy hustle. Check them out. Save yourself some money. And best part, they come with the money back guarantee. So you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Check it out. Happy Hustle is the backlink. Nootopia.com is the domain. I know that was a confusing way to say it. Nootopia.com/happy hustle. All right, now let's get back to this episode. All right, Jayson Hunter, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my brother. I am super excited to connect.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, I'm really excited about this one. I mean, you're a registered dietitian of over 20 years experience. You're also a badass entrepreneur who's grown this massive company, JLab Pro, nutrition-backed science. And we're here to talk about nutrition, you know, optimizing your health, protecting yourself against viruses and everything in between. And it's an important topic, you know, especially now given the pandemic and everything going on. But before we get into all that good stuff, Jayson, what's something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Well, a lot of people probably don't know that. Some would call it that I'm very stubborn. I like to call it I'm strong-willed. And so that's one of those things where, you know, back at an early age, I didn't have the easiest childhood and my parents got divorced. I've actually had a job since I was in 5th grade with a paper route. I had to go and actually deliver papers after school, go collect the money every month, turn it in. That's how I got paid, all that. So, you know, I think from an early age, I became very strong-willed in regards to, hey, if you want something in life, you got to go out and get it. You got to go work for it. You got to earn it. And it's one thing that I don't brag about it. Like there's been plenty of times where I've had people say, hey, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that because that's, you know, go the safer route, like for dietetics, right? For being a dietitian. My whole thing was I wanted to be a sports dietitian right out of my internship. My internship director pretty much said, oh, no, you got to stick in the hospital, do the safe route, blah, 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 blah. Me internally, when anyone tries to challenge me like that or tell me I can't do something, it's just an internal thing that kind of says, you know, I'm just going to quietly do it. And I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to throw it in their face when I do it. But I just want the reaction on their face or their surprise is going to tell me, yep, you know, I can do it. Like, don't tell me I can't do something, right? And sure enough, about 3 months before our internship was over, they were having us do resumes with all the other interns, this and that. And she finally pulled me in the office. She goes, I know you're not really working hard on it. Like, do you have any troubles? And I'm like, no, actually, I already have a job. She was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I got offered a sports dietetics job at the last rotation. And I'll be starting when we're done with this. And I mean, her jaw hit the floor. But internally for me, that whole strong will, that determination, that stubbornness, whatever you want to call it, you know, I wish more people had that drive, because I'm just like, I didn't have to be mean. I didn't have to be rude, but it was one of those of, don't tell me what I can't do.
Yeah, man. Amen to that. You know, it's interesting. Some people, they're talking, with their mouth, and then other people they're talking with action and
Yep.
results. And I like to err on the latter personally and just say, oh, okay. I agree with speaking it into existence, whatever I plan on doing. For instance, my recent book, The Happy Hustle, I was like, I'm going to be a New York Times bestselling author. I say that out loud to myself and to my circle, but then I go to work, and I let my results do the work, and I spend the time and put in the effort, because nothing works unless you do. And it's you got to have that strong will. You got to have that discipline to achieve in this lifetime and to be a happy hustler. So I love that story, man. So let's dive in. I like to really kick things off with a bang.
Okay.
What is the biggest myth or mistake that you see with nutrition? And, I know that's a grand question.
It's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question, but I want to start with, like, everyone thinks, some fad diet's going to save them. And then really it turns out it's more simple than that. You have to start with the foundation. And at least in my mind, like, that seems to be a major myth. But what do you think is like the biggest myth around nutrition that causes a lot of problems?
I think the biggest one is, I guess it's probably a few things, but the big one is, like you said, people are trying to chase fads, right? And hey, it's no carbs this or no fat that and this, that. But like you hit it on the head. If you don't have a solid nutritional foundation, which does include healthy fats, it does include carbs, it does include protein, vitamins, minerals, you're probably going to fail at whatever diet or fad plan you want to follow, right? And like one of them, like from a myth standpoint, would be people think that they have to count calories, right? I honestly, I couldn't tell you the last time I had a client actually track their calories. I mean, it's been a long years and years, because if you choose the right foods and start to learn just what portion control is,
yep,
it's actually pretty darn hard to overeat on calories. Because if you think about, we're just going to use the fast food example, right? A Big Mac or whatever, right? A quarter pounder with cheese. I mean, I don't even know. I'm going to guess it's probably 700, 800 calories, right? Well, if you have a, seasoned lean beef or chicken or fish with some sweet potatoes and vegetables, do you know how much food you'd actually have to eat to just get that one quarter pounder in calories? Like, you'd have a plate full of food, right? And most people, and that's the biggest thing that when I work with clients is they go, I don't think I can even eat all this food that you kind of suggest. And I'm like, great, because then I know you're not overeating on calories, right? But it's to them, when you eat highly processed foods or things like that, you pack in a lot of calories very fast without a lot of actual volume of food. But when you eat healthier, there's more volume of food to get that same amount of calories. I mean, there's your calorie control right there. You don't have to count calories at that point, because your body is self-regulating at that point in regards to, you're full. You feel fuller faster and for a longer period of time because of the types of foods you're choosing. So really, I think the biggest one would probably be, they think they have to know how many calories or what they can eat, but it's much simpler than that. Just choose better foods or healthier foods, and that it kind of takes care of itself at that point.
Yeah, man. I totally agree. I've never counted calories in my life. And I see some people, especially, my fiance, Steph, she went through this butt camp. And it was like this fitness influencer online, basically had this program, and it was who can get the best butt in 8 weeks. And I was like, well, it's a win-win for me either way, but because she either gets 10K or a nice butt or both, because there's a cash prize.
Yeah.
But she had to count all her calories. She had to weigh everything out. She had to go through, get the scale, and I was like, I understand there's a science to that type of mentality, but
how can you live that way for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's not sustainable. And
it's not sustainable.
And that's what happened with her, man. She went on, she looked great, got a great butt. She's always had one, but it was even tighter than normal. And you know, what happened was after the competition ended, she kind of cycled back to her old eating habits and ways. And that's what I see is this yo-yo with people
Yep.
where they're like, they maybe go on a hot streak, they're eating right, they're working out, and then they kind of fall back off the wagon. So what do you recommend, like, in order to create a sustainable nutrition plan? What would you say is the foundational elements of just an overall healthy, balanced diet?
Well, I mean, the to have an overall healthy, balanced diet is not to try to eliminate one big macronutrient or the other, right? Because like you said, the yo-yo effect, people that do the keto, right? Yeah, you could probably lose weight if you really stick to it. But man, it's a tough way to live, right? You
Yeah.
know, and then people have this mentality of I'm gonna do all this and I'm gonna eat real good, or I'm not gonna eat these so I can lose my weight, but they don't make any behavioral changes. In their mind, I'm only doing this for 6 weeks. And then once I hit my goal, I'm there. Well, no, you kind of still have to eat healthy. Like there's a reason why you gained weight in the first place, right? You weren't eating healthy. And most of the time, I can have people just fill out a food journal right here, write down, what you ate and roughly the quantities you ate. And you can sit there and see what's probably causing the weight gain, right? Or the calories, because, oh, I didn't even know I had that soda. I forgot I had that big gulp, or I forgot I had that piece of cake, right? Like, so a lot of times it's just write down what you're eating,
Mm,
because you'll see, it's kind of that self feedback, right?
yeah.
Where you'll know, oh, wait, I got to write down that piece of cake that I'm going to eat. Well, no, I know I'm not supposed to eat that, so I don't want to write it down, right? Like
Yeah.
you just kind of help police yourself, right? And so really what I teach people is in the beginning, we have them at least track what they're eating, food, not calories or anything like that, but just say, hey, what are the food items that you're eating? Roughly how much was it? A half a cup, things like that. But don't weigh it. Just kind of go off of what you think a half of a cup is or whatever. But more importantly, we're looking at the food choices, not even the
Mm,
quantity, right? Because you start with that and go, okay, where's my weak spots in my nutritional foundation?
mm,
Where can I improve that foundation? Because we're always going to have weak spots, just like a house, right? Like, there may be a crack that you have to fix, right? That's a weak spot in that foundation. You have to put something on it. You have to do something to fix that weak spot. Nutrition is no different, right? Where I'm not eating any fruits and vegetables, right? So I know I'm not getting in my vitamins and minerals. All right, I'm going to try to put more fruits and vegetables into my meal plan so I can fix
mm.
that weak spot in my nutritional foundation. And it does come down to balance, because we still do need carbs. We don't
Yep.
need sugary carbs like cookies and cakes and whatnot necessarily, but you can have those,
Yeah.
because again, if you're eating balanced and you go ahead and have, at a birthday party or something, a piece of cake, in the grand scheme of things, it's not changing a thing, because what I like to teach is first you want to win the day
Yep.
with your nutrition, right? And then from there it turns into winning the week and winning the month. So I eat really good for my breakfast, I eat good for my lunch, I eat good for my dinner, and we went to a friend's for a birthday party and had cake and ice cream, right? Well, I still ate good, what, 90% of the day? I won the day,
Yeah.
right? And now I go on to the next day. Can I win
Mm,
that day? It's not all about being perfect, or I can't have this and that, or I'm going to gain weight. No. Did you make more positive changes or decisions than negative? And if
yep.
you did, then you're winning. Now
Yeah.
that rate obviously can change, right? Your speed of success can change, but you're still winning, and that's what you're focusing on, is trying to win each and every day.
Yeah. It's a great point. You break it down into micro goals.
Mhm.
And that's, I am a big fan of reverse engineering your goals and seeing the vision where you want to go, then reverse engineering the micro steps to get there. And that's what you're talking about, is winning the day every single day. And if you have a little cake and ice cream on a birthday party, it's not
Yeah,
gonna
because you
affect the
ate
overall
great.
scale.
You ate great
Yep.
the whole grand scheme of things. And one meal's not going to make or break if you're successful with losing weight or maintaining weight. Now,
Yeah.
if you start eating that every other
Every
day
day.
or
Yeah.
every dessert, well, guess what? Now you're probably not winning each day. You're losing more than you're winning. And
Yeah.
now the pounds are going to come on. It's a very easy and simple self-feedback mechanism.
Yep.
And so many people beat themselves up thinking they have to be perfect with nutrition. And that's just not the case. You just don't. You
What's
have to win more than you lose. And
Yep.
some days you're going to be better than others.
Yeah, so true. Give me an example of your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm curious. Like what do you eat to, give you those healthy fats and those carbohydrates, and what do you make sure you avoid?
So breakfast, I'm a little bit of a creature of habit with breakfast just because I love breakfast. But typically I will do 3 eggs scrambled. I'll put some hot sauce on them, 2 pieces, like for this morning, and I had 2 pieces of rye toast with butter. And then I actually did skim milk with that. Sometimes I'll make more of an omelet, right? I'll do green peppers or some sausage, mushrooms or spinach, things like that. Like I say I'm a creature of habit, but then at times I get bored with what I've
Yeah.
been eating every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, typically that's probably my go-to most of the time is what I just described there. Lunch can be all over the place because as I've gotten older and obviously working at a desk most of the time, right? I'm not on my feet all day long and so forth. Sometimes I will just kind of snack in the afternoon. And it could be depending on what we have in the refrigerator, but like sometimes I'll make like a salami and Swiss cheese roll up, like a couple of things of those. Or I will do apples with peanut butter. I kind of don't have a set lunch per se, other than if I'm getting hungry, I'll eat some snacks like that.
Got it.
And then I'm good till dinner.
Yep.
So that's for me for lunch. I used to be one where I would eat like a sandwich every day, of fruit or things like that. But like I said, I've kind of adjusted it just a little based off of my activity levels to where I don't necessarily have to eat a full lunch. Because I'll eat breakfast closer to like 10 a.m. my time instead of
Me
like
too.
7 or 8. But again,
Yeah.
I get to work from home. It's a little easier than maybe having to go to a job and work 9 to 5 or something like that, right?
Yep.
And then dinner could be anything. Right now we have pulled pork and a homemade mac and cheese, like
Oh.
a family recipe. Yeah, it's something my daughter wanted. We hadn't made it forever, and she was like, when she knew we were making pulled pork for Halloween, I had smoked a big pork shoulder on Sunday,
Nice.
and she was like, "Can we have that old mac and cheese?" She calls it, or something like that. And it's a family recipe.
Cool.
And so yeah, so we're doing that this week with a salad. But yeah, so dinners can be all over. Usually we try to do some type of protein. So what I tell most people is if you have your plate, you want to break it into quadrants, right? So one quadrant's going to be some type of healthy carbohydrate. One quadrant would be, and it could be 2 quadrants, would be your meat or your lean protein. And then the remaining 2 quadrants are going to be some type of like vegetable. So like I said, that may vary. So maybe I only have 1 quadrant of vegetable and 2 of meat, or vice versa. But then that way it's balanced. You're getting a little of everything. You're providing some satiety and fullness in your stomach, so you don't feel like you're hungry again in 20 minutes. Because that's what happens a lot with like processed foods or sugary foods. If you don't have like fat or protein to slow down that process with the digestion, you're going to feel hungry really fast. Which
Yeah.
then you're now going to eat more calories, which you probably don't really actually need. It's just your body thinks you need them.
Yeah, it's a good point. And when you're going through your list of meals, I was reflecting on kind of what I eat, and the biggest thing that I think what keeps me in the shape I'm in is not what exactly I eat, it's what I don't eat, and that's what I think is a key point that I want to stress to the happy hustlers out there. It's more important what you don't put in your pie hole than what you do, in my opinion. It's like, get away from the processed crap, the sugars, all the the GMOs and modified like fake veggies and these things that aren't natural. Like if you get to a whole balanced organic diet, if you can organic, great, and just eat real food.
I was just gonna say, just eat more real food.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it. Like,
and again, you don't have to do it. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but again, try to win the day, right?
Yep, exactly.
With that.
And that's like, I think if you stay there, you win, like by just eating real food in moderation, everything in moderation, obviously. But I think that has just been, and I only eat when I'm hungry too. Like when I think back to the human evolution, like cavemen did not say, oh, we're going to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner today, people. They ate if they killed and gathered. And that was it, and it's like that we are able to survive with one meal a day,
and again, it depends on what you're eating, right? Like
exactly.
for me, because of what I'm eating for my breakfast at around 10 a.m.,
yeah,
I don't really get that hungry. So maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, but then I'm going to be eating dinner at 5:30. So I just eat something healthy, light, and then I'm good till dinner, right? So, and it's because of the types of foods I'm eating in the morning. I'm not eating a donut or pancakes and waffles, and I'm eating things that are going to fill up and take a while to digest and provide that wholesomeness so that I don't get hungry.
Exactly. And, I'm curious to hear your take on intermittent fasting, because personally, I don't eat breakfast the majority of my mornings. I love breakfast. I don't eat it. My first meal is around noon. And, I attempt to close my feeding window to, just
and
these
essentially
8
that's
hours.
what I've been moving to or switched to, was it, not on purpose, but that's essentially what I've been doing, intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Like I said, some mornings, again, if I'm working and I'm not hungry, this was just last week. Since I love breakfast, it was still noon. I still ate my breakfast foods, but I didn't eat till noon. So I'm essentially at 10 to 6 p.m., 6:30, depending on if we have any sports or things like that we're running around doing. But that's kind of my feeding window for the most part. It's 10 to 6. So I like it from a standpoint of, like you just said, back in the caveman days, they didn't say, hey, we get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, you kind of eat based off of what your metabolism and appetite is telling you. There are some people that are very active, construction or this and that, right? Like they're burning calories all day long. They probably are going to eat probably 3 times a day because they probably need it. It still comes down to making healthy choices, though. So again, it's not running to the gas station and buying 2 Long John donuts and then wondering why you're hungry again in an hour and a half. Well, because it was all sugar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Your body processed it in about 35 minutes, and you got this blood sugar spike. And now all of a sudden your blood sugars are in the toilet, and your body saying, hey, we need to eat food to get our blood sugars back up, right? And now all of a sudden people are overeating or just eating more crap because of it.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's very important, your selection, what you eat for that fuel, because that's what I look at food as, is fuel. And it's also really good for your immune system and making sure that you're staying healthy. And I want to transition to JLab Pro and your company, which helps people truly optimize their health with these nutrition-backed, supplements, or backed by science, but they're nutritious supplements. And I'm just kind of curious, what was the inspiration starting JLab Pro, and kind of tell us like where you're at now?
So really the inspiration was, we had a bunch of fitness trainers coming up to us saying, hey, my client's going to GNC. They want to know what they should buy. And I'm like, okay, well, what are they eating? How are they eating? Like, again, I probably don't know much unless I know the company owner. I know not a whole lot more than you do. I can read the labels. I can understand them, right? So maybe I have an edge up on that. But as far as why you taking these things, right? So we started the company with an education purpose in mind. Again, what is your nutritional foundation? And again, if you have weak spots in that foundation, so like, we'll go back to the fruits and vegetables, right? For vitamins and minerals. Some people just are never, they hate vegetables. They're never going to eat them. All right, well, That's where a whole food based multivitamin helps fix that weak spot in your foundation. Another good example is omega-3 fats. Thousands of research studies on how important EPA and DHA and omega-3 fatty acids are, what they can do for our body and so forth. Well, the best source is salmon. I've done surveys numerous times. How many times do you eat cold water fish or even just fish in general in a week? Most people say 0. So where are you getting those omega-3s from, right? Yes, you can get them from some other foods, but then they have to be converted and things like that. But that's a weak spot in your nutritional foundation. So that's where smart supplementation, in my mind, comes into play to help fix or shore up that weak spot. It's not there to replace. People think supplements are, oh, I just do this and then I don't have to do that. Not really. Like we want you to eat real food as much as possible.
Yeah.
And because that's how you sustain yourself in life. And then you use supplements to help shore up weak spots, or even if it's a temporary thing, like a blood sugar thing, you take a supplement to help kind of, while you're working on your nutrition side of things and making better choices, maybe you take a blood sugar support until that gets ideal, and then you don't take that product anymore. So that's pretty much how we got started. So by now, I mean, we have 3,000 plus articles and videos on our site of just any type of topic and, nutrition related and things like that. But that's kind of still where we are today in regards to build your nutritional foundation and then take a look at it. These spots that I can fix through nutrition, or these spots that I'm telling you, I'm never going to eat fish. So that's always going to be a weak spot unless I take a supplement to help fix that weak spot, because not every supplement's for every person. I mean, it's just, you have to look at what's going to be best for me, and what can I do through food, or what can I not do through food, or won't do through food that I may need to supplement with.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of testing, not guessing what your body needs, getting blood work done and getting labs done, and seeing where is that crack in your foundation. I love that analogy. And I know you have some go-to supplements that are really important for pretty much everyone. There's some that are like, okay, make sure, like the testosterone one, for example, that's a great supplement, but it's only for people who are low and deficient in testosterone, right? But there is a couple. Specifically, I want to talk about the immuno one, the one that really boosts your immune system, especially because right now, I just got over COVID. I take care of myself. I, eat healthy, and I had a bunch of protocols to knock it out. But this supplement, is something that could protect yourself. Immunodefense 4X. Tell us a little bit about that supplement in particular, and who's it for, and some of those key ingredients.
Yeah, so I was actually taking these ingredients separately myself, just going to the store and buying them, or things like that, for years. And the big one, Epicor, I would usually only take when I'd feel cold symptoms coming on. So then when the whole pandemic hit, I was like, man, these are obviously harder to come by now. I'm going to call the manufacturer of Epicor and ask some questions and whatnot. And got to talking with them, and they were like, yeah, no, you could take this actually every single day. And yeah, we'll sell you that main ingredient so you can create a formula so that you can have it, one, it's cheaper when you can get them all in one, location, rather than going and buying 4 separate bottles of something. It's always cheaper if you can make it into one formula. And, we made it, I'll say it's selfish, because honestly, I made it at first for my family, right? Because early in the pandemic, it's like, it seemed like everyone was for themselves, right? Hey, like you first, right? We didn't know what was going on, this and that. So I'm like, listen, I'm going to secure these ingredients for me and my family and friends, right? Obviously, I was able to secure enough, and they promised that they could continue to supply it, that, we opened it up to all our customers and things like that. But the whole idea of it is, so this Epicor was kind of an accidental discovery. So I want to say it was in the 80s, maybe. Might have even been 70s or something. They were making this animal supplement, essentially, that they're putting in animal feed. And when the insurance company for the business, Diamond Foods, came to renew their yearly insurance plan and this and that, they had noticed that all the factory workers were never getting sick, and the people in the office and clerical staff got your typical colds and flus and this and that. But it was so alarming and off in regards to the ratios that they're like, what the heck's going on? So they actually conducted their own study, and come to find out, the ingredient that they were making not only was helping boost animals' immune systems, but they were inhaling it. The particles were in the air, right? Because it was in this
Mhm.
factory, and it was boosting their immune systems. So
Interesting.
they made a human version of it. Um, and that's essentially how that was founded. It was
Wow.
it was founded by accident, and it was at first an animal supplement to help boost cows and horses and their immune systems. They found out that it worked amazingly well for humans as well.
Is it
So
natural too? Like, is it, or the
yeah,
properties
so
come
it's like
naturally
it's a
derived?
yeast. It's a yeast fermentate.
Okay.
And so what it does is it attacks, or not attacks, it it protects against the attacks on your first level of immune system and your second. So your
Got
what's
it.
called innate and adaptive immunity. So
Mm.
the first layer is like in your nose, right? All through there. And then say you get a virus past that, now your adaptive immunity kicks in. But they have scientific studies on it that show it'll actually boost your NK killer cells within 2 hours of ingesting it. And your
Wow.
killer cells are very responsible for fighting off infections and viruses and things like that.
Wow.
So,
Interesting.
so then obviously, there's good studies with vitamin D, even more now with the pandemic,
Yeah.
in regards to how that helps fight off infections once you have an infection. Quercetin is more involved with keeping your lungs clear. So again, you don't settle in pneumonia and bronchitis and all those types of things.
Yep.
And then we use bromelain because that actually helps activate the quercetin and the vitamin D and so forth, so that you get more effective use out of that within your body,
Mm.
absorbability and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, we created that formula to really help people boost their immune system. Because, like you said, if it's not this virus, it's going to be something else. And not to
Mm.
mention, there's still colds, there's
Yeah.
still the flu, there's still, we're still, excuse me, fighting stuff off all the time, right?
Yeah.
That's never going to change.
No, it's a good point. It's not necessarily that you want to like live in fear. It's just you're playing offense. You're protecting yourself. You have your
Absolutely.
immune system built up. And this is a great product to just assist in a natural way that's been I love that you do the double blind placebo studies and like actually have the science behind it to make sure that it actually is effective.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I
Well, and
appreciate.
that's the thing, like, what most people are seeing is when you have a strong immune system, and this is probably the biggest thing that have seen, not only with me and my family, as well as everyone that I hear, takes our immunodefenses. Typically you get a sinus infection, right? And starts in your nose, then it goes down, get drainage in your throat, then it's in your lungs. By the time it's all done, you end up with a cough, and it's like day 10 or 14, right? But it's like this process. Now it seems like you'll get some congestion or runny nose, but within 2 or 3 days, it's gone. Your body's
Mm,
usually able to fight it off. So there's not that normal 10 to 14-day sinus infection type of thing. Oh, you got to let it run its course and this and that. There's things that can help speed that course up and get it out of your body quicker. And
yeah.
that's pretty much where we came up with Immunodefense 4X. Was I was, like I said, I was only taking those when I would feel symptoms. Now I take it every single day.
Yeah.
And at most I get a cold for 2 or 3 days now.
Man, love it. So I know you got something special for the happy hustlers out there. I believe the code is happy and they save 20%, which is
Yep.
pretty awesome and generous of you, man. Where can people go to snag a bottle or two of that Immunodefense 4X?
Just go to jaylabpro.com, and it's JAYLABPRO.com. You'll see a link right at the top that says shop our store. And I want to say Immunodefense is probably one of the first 2 or 3 listed right there on that page.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, and then use the code HAPPY when you check out, and it'll take 20% off your order.
Love it. And then you also have some amazing other products while you guys are there. Check them out. You know, he's got a little something for everyone. If you want some fermented turmeric or some collagen complex, or you maybe want some krill oil. Like I see you have a very elaborate product line. And
when you mentioned about a few products that everyone should be taking, like one is the Immunodefense, but that other one is the krill oil with Omega Icon. That has, the krill oil has had thousands and thousands of studies in regards to the importance of EPA and DHA, which is essentially omega-3 fats. I mean, most people are low in that, but man,
I got to get me a bottle of that
omega-3
one too.
fats are huge in regards to brain health, eye health, even helps with metabolism, obviously definitely lowers the risk of heart disease. And that's, if you said if there's one nutrient everyone should be taking, whether it's through food or through supplement, it would be omega-3 fats.
Yep. I take, fish oil, but I don't take krill oil. So that's on my list.
Yeah, krill oil, you don't have to take as much of the fish as you do fish oil to get the same benefits. Mainly because it's in a phospholipid solution rather than the triglycerides. And phospholipids are one of the few things that actually cross the blood-brain barrier. So that's how you get DHA and EPA into the brain easier.
Wow.
So I can't really say it's absorbability, but it's your body utilizes it more easily. So you don't need as much of it to have the same effects.
Love it. jlabpro.com, guys. Use code HAPPY. Now, Jayson, I do want to ask you a couple different questions in a couple different disciplines. I like to call these the happy hustle hacks. Now, first and foremost, I like to talk about money. You know, money is important. You've grown a successful, large company. I'm curious, in regards to money, what is a happy hustle hack that you can share with the happy hustlers out there in regards to maybe how you save or spend or invest wisely in order to grow wealth and abundance?
Probably the thing that I do is I actually created a spreadsheet, and at the end of every month, all right, I have this much money left over. I want to break it down. 10% goes here, 12% goes here. And I kind of just created a little discipline for myself of so much, percents going to this investment account. This is here. This is going to go to just regular savings, because obviously we need to have liquid savings in case we, want to buy that sports car, right? Or that table saw or whatever, you can't, my philosophy is don't lock it all away in investment to where you can't access it if you actually need some of it, right? Because we still have our wants and desires or our impulse buys, right? You need to have some liquid savings to be able to do that. But yeah, I just kind of keep it simple in regards to, I kind of broke down, and if I have like a goal, like when we were years ago saving for a condo at the Lake of the Ozarks as our kind of our vacation summer place, I reallocated those percents and I pushed more towards that down payment fund, right? So that, we could be in a position to buy that comfortably and things like that. But yeah, I don't, simple. I like it. Yeah, I just keep it pretty simple, and it's a simple spreadsheet.
Just like nutrition. I love it. Having the spreadsheet, looking at your finances, saving up, allocating funds, properly.
If it's debt pay down stuff, I list out all my monthly debt stuff, and then, all right, how am I not getting, and then I track it. Am I getting closer to my goals? Am I getting this debt paid down?
Yeah, exactly. For me, I like to automate that, like I'll have every month, it just pulls from my account. This goes to charity. This goes to my savings. This goes to my stock account. And I just automate it. So I don't even have to think about it. It just pulls it. But then I do like to keep an eye on my stuff using personal capital, which is like an overarching kind of every dollar, every budget, goes into one portal. So that's just a little tip for the happy hustlers out there. Now let's talk about relationships. I'm big on not just success in the business game, but also with your family and your personal life. Do you have a happy hustle hack in regards to your marriage or your family that you can share?
Um, I guess, but for me, it's probably trying to include my family in not necessarily the decisions, but understanding why things have happened the way they've happened, right? Where, um, like my kids know sometimes I have to work odd hours, right? My business is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
It's happened where servers have gone down on Christmas Day, right? And things like
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, my hack is trying to not get, you can easily get into the weeds
Yeah.
and grind, and you kind of forget about, the family or that they need attention to and whatnot. So I really do, I can't say I'm perfect at it,
No,
but
none of us
I
are.
do try to, like my daughter got races on yesterday, and you know, I made a point to, oh, show them. She wanted to show them to me. Oh, cool. You excited? Are you, made a big deal out of it, because it's something big for her and new, something
Yeah.
different. But trying to find that, making sure you take that time
Yeah.
to be one-on-one with them.
Yeah. That's a good
Even
point.
if it's 10 minutes, 5 times a day. I mean, it doesn't have to be, hey, I need to take a 4-hour break here, but take that 15 minutes, take that 10 minutes,
And be
give them their
present.
undivided attention,
Yeah.
and then do it again 2 hours from now or
Yep.
whatever. Because I
I
think that
like
kind of
that.
helps. And then they understand it. My kids don't even blink anymore I mean, we've been on vacation and something crap hit the fan, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, give me an hour and then you have me the rest of the day, right?
Yep.
We'll do whatever. But, it's kind of that balance of, you give me this time and I'll give you this time, and
Love it.
we'll all be happy in the end.
Balance is one of my favorite words. All the happy hustlers know that I believe balance equals happiness. So
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned that. Now, Jayson, I do want to run through the rapid fire round and we will wrap this bad boy up. This
All
is
right.
basically where I ask you random questions and you answer honestly. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I think so. I hope so.
Okay. Favorite movie? Go.
Twister.
Favorite book? Twister. I love it.
Shoot, I don't even know if I have a favorite book right now.
What came to mind?
What comes to mind is probably Man Up over there. Because I'm reading it right
Oh,
now.
nice. Yeah. I've read that book actually. Favorite food?
Steak.
Nice. What is your spirit animal?
Oh shoot, I don't know. Honestly, it probably would be like a Wolverine or because again,
Honey badger.
it goes back to my being. I'm very composed and quiet, but if you get me stirred up inside, I'm just gonna silently stalk you and
take you out. I like it.
My strong will win in the end.
Best business advice.
Well, probably the balance. Work hard, but understand that there has to be some type of balance there if you want to be happy, because you can have all the money in the world, but man, sometimes it's stressful as hell.
Oh yeah.
I've been there before.
For sure. What are 3 things you're most grateful for?
My family, my drive and determination, and my love of having fun.
Awesome. And if you had one billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content, what would that billboard read?
Win the day.
Love it. Jayson, you crushed that rapid fire round, man. This has been an awesome
nervous,
interview.
actually.
No, it was good, man. You crushed it. I just want to take a moment, man, to acknowledge you. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, and really
Thanks for
appreciate what
having
you're
me.
doing in the world and just, showing up with these great products and actually caring about people's health and well-being and just spreading that good vibes. So thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you. It's something I really do enjoy. I mean, we get a lot of people, hey, should I take this, or what do I need to do for this? And I take the time to ask the questions of why,
Yeah.
because it's something I enjoy doing. I can see people improve their health and know
Yeah.
that I had a little part in it.
Yeah, man. Love it. JLabPro.com, guys. Use code HAPPY to save yourself some moolah. I would check out that Immune Defense 4X. Now, Jayson, any last words before I ask you the final question?
No, not really. Just, hey, take life in balance from a nutrition standpoint, evaluate that nutritional foundation, see where you can shore up some weaknesses. And then if you have questions, feel free to contact me. I'd be more than happy to help you analyze your foundation for you.
Love it. Thanks so much, Jayson. Now, last question.
All
What
right.
does happy hustling mean to you?
Happy hustling means to me, like I pretty much kind of said, is work hard, but enjoy what you do. Because like I get this question of people, my friends all the time, how do you get up in the morning if you don't actually have to go to a job and do stuff? And I'm like, well, one, I like what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got to enjoy what you do. If you don't, then just find a new profession, find something that will make you happy, even if it's something that maybe people don't think you would be successful, or hey, or it's a status thing. Who cares?
Yep.
I've had people literally have big careers and they're like, I want to drive a truck. It makes me happy to drive a truck. And hey, if it gets you out of bed in the morning, you have no problem hustling at that point because you're happy.
Love it. Jayson Hunter, everyone. Thanks for watching and listening. Peace and love, y'all. We out.